Okay. So we'll go back to editing the post after this post show.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of all the trailers were released, so we can add all of that and just add more additional information. So if you guys are on the website, some of the posts are kind of incomplete, but we'll work on them after.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. So did you start recording?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. Go ahead.
Yep. All right. So that was EA's post conference, or that was EA's conference in general, actually. We saw what we expected. Honestly, there were a couple of nice little surprises in there. For a conference that was called EA Play, we saw a surprisingly lackluster amount of playing. We saw a lot of CG trailers, a lot of the fact that almost every game EA is working on right now is using the Frostbite engine.
Mm-hmm. They sure look good, but not a lot of gameplay.
Yeah, they look good. We saw a lot of in-game and in-engine rendering going on here, especially for the Battlefield games, or in Battlefront in particular. Surprising lack of gameplay from a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
We also learned about the fact that EA is opening up a Madden Pro circuit. A Madden 16 and 17 professional competitive circuit. So let's discuss the first game in the matter. Let's discuss.
That was Titanfall. Titanfall 2.
Yeah, Titanfall 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we definitely did not see coming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Biggest surprise of the show.
Despite the leak, biggest surprise. In particular because we actually saw gameplay from that. And the gameplay looks very intriguing. It looks like a huge evolution from the first game. We saw grappling hooks. I'm pretty sure jetpacks are new. There looks like a huge amount of new verticality and level expansion just based on it. New Titans, new weapons, just overall more of what people wanted from the first Titanfall. And we also found out
especially
that Titanfall 2
story
is
mode.
Especially a single-player campaign. And also, Titanfall 2 is going to be on PS4 this time, because Titanfall was only originally on Xbox One and PC. So it's really nice to see that Titanfall 2 is going to be for PS4 players as well. Pretty exciting. So what are you guys' thoughts on Titanfall 2?
I thought the single-player campaign looks interesting. I think it's cool that the robot seems to have a little bit of a personality.
A bit of sentience.
Or the Titan, yeah. Or the Titan, I suppose.
Yeah, they're called Titans.
Okay. And so...
that's why it's called Titanfall.
Grappling hook looks interesting.
Game
looks very dynamic.
I love how you can grapple other players with it. Because they show that at the end of the trailer when both of the pilots ejected from their Titans, that one of them grappled into the other guy to kill him. I think that's fantastic. I think it's an amazing idea. It reminds me of Just Cause. But
so grappling's always fun. Obviously, the game looks beautiful. Yeah.
Entertainment looks like they have their things together. It looks
absolutely. I've played a little bit of the first game, enough for me to understand what it's like, and I do think it's very fun. Yeah. And I'll hopefully be able to check out the second entry. It launches October 28th, for those of you who are not in the know on that.
Yeah, 2 weeks after my birthday, so that's going to be exciting.
Nice.
2 days after my birthday.
Ooh, pretty close. About
all
6
the more
months
exciting.
After mine.
Yeah.
I thought it would look nice. I'm glad it's coming to PS4 because I'll actually try it out. One of the reasons why I didn't or haven't played the first one was first of all is that I didn't have an Xbox One when the game launched, and by the time I got one, the
servers are dead.
That game were dead. Yeah. So I mean, there was no reason for me to get it.
I know that feeling. I got the PC version last December too, and it's pretty dead over there. So I hope that Titanfall 2 is gonna bring and keep a consistent community.
Yeah, that's what I hope. I'll definitely give it a shot because I've heard it's really fun.
Yeah, it is. It is surprisingly fun. Like, it's very fluid. I remember. Yeah.
Next up, we had Madden.
Madden NFL 17.
Madden 17.
As always, it is a sports game, and all of us here know nothing about sports.
I know about sports. Accurate. I don't know about football.
I know about hockey. I don't know about football or soccer.
I know about one of those types
soccer
of football.
football.
Not,
Soccer football.
That's the one I know about.
Yeah, I know a little bit about soccer football, but not about football.
Yeah. Well, football is soccer.
Hand egg, I think other places call it.
Yeah.
Madden hand egg.
Madden hand egg.
Yeah, they're using the Frostbite engine just as usual, and the game itself looks. The game itself looks fine. Yeah. I think I found it particularly interesting that they were talking about the competitive circuit in particular, and they seem to be enforcing a very interesting look at the competitive scene of things. In particular, they had a really nice highlight about the two, greatest players of Madden 16, and I thought it was kind of nice to see that they do have some sort of an influence on community to have a competitive circuit like this.
Right.
Although you'd think that they would have more of a competitive circuit with Battlefield, but it seems like they don't have a whole lot of interest in that.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least not a very openly public kind of look on it.
Right. Seems like with games like that, they're just releasing it and they'll let the community kind of build itself.
Yeah.
It seems like they really want to have a tight control.
And then when the community is built, then they start with the circuits.
Mm.
Instead of just starting with the circuit in mind and hoping that people join in eventually.
Right.
It's kind of like an inclusive, I guess. An inclusive look instead of an exclusive. And it's interesting, to say the least. But yeah, Madden NFL 17, it's Madden NFL as you'd expect. Except prettier, I guess.
Yeah, slightly.
Because what we saw was apparently still in engine.
Yeah, it's definitely football.
Yeah, it's football.
Then we got more football, but we got a different kind of football.
Mm-hmm.
We got story mode football.
Yeah, story mode for FIFA.
Yeah.
Oh, the Telltale game?
That would be
man,
great.
I hope it has voice choices like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
And for everyone who doesn't understand, FIFA 17 is going to have The Journey, which is their title for the single-player campaign mode. And if anybody remembers the hilarious disaster that was NBA 2K16 story mode, then you should keep an open mind about the idea of the same thing happening in FIFA 17.
Right.
Because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting look.
Yeah. So in the story in FIFA 17 story, you control one character. I don't think you'll be able to customize him. Just that character.
Yeah, you'll be playing as that character.
And you go through his story. That's about it.
Apparently, apparently your character. If I'm going to be basing some things off of the NBA 2K16 story mode as well. Apparently, in NBA 2K16, your character was very middle of the line. Your character was a 55 out of 100 or something. So that's a very middle of the road character. Couldn't do layups or anything. So if they're following the same path with FIFA and you can't expand your character or make them better at all, then it's going to be really interestingly infuriating to watch happen. They're probably gonna force you to lose some matches just to expand or make the story progress. It's gonna be interesting to look and see what happens.
Yeah, and in that story, you start off as a player for Manchester United, and I guess maybe you transfer to other clubs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they choose Manchester United in particular instead of letting you choose.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. It sucks for those, or let's say Manchester City fans who don't like Manchester United.
That might actually be because of the character itself. They had a special player. They had a player from Manchester United there, and that might have just been their story where they chose Manchester United. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of interested in that. Maybe that'll be the.
I can't wait to watch.
I can't
wait to watch somebody let's play it.
Oh.
It's gonna be really interesting to watch.
Story mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people let's play the ultimate team.
Ultimate Team, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not too out of the ordinary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other game that was announced or was shown off more was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Looks gorgeous.
Yeah, they showed off a lot of in-engine stuff, I've noticed. A lot of in-engine. I'm not sure if what they showed, the very brief amount of gameplay they showed, I don't know if it was in-game or not. But I've noticed they love their mocap. And they, in particular, love facial mocap, because the facial animations that they showed off for some of the special characters are very intriguing looking. But yeah, apparently it's definitely not gonna take place in the Shepard trilogy at all. It's gonna take place in an entirely new galaxy with entirely new characters. So we are potentially looking at a brand new trilogy, like the start of a brand new trilogy.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
I would say that would be the case.
Again, using the Frostbite engine.
Yeah. Have you guys played it at the last Mass Effect games?
I've only ever played Mass Effect 2.
Me
I thought Mass Effect 2 was great. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I should play
wonder.
it again, but I need to play Stick of Truth first.
Yeah, you need to play that. I wonder if they'll figure out a way to transfer your choices from that game to Andromeda, and maybe it'll
because you're not
in
Shepard
some way.
anymore.
But maybe
you're probably not going to have
maybe
any choices.
the ending, but maybe the ending that you got will affect the game or something like that.
I mean, if you think about it logically, they could, but this is taking place in an entirely different galaxy, far, far away from the original trilogy's galaxy. Apparently, like several light years away. So the effect that you would have in the first trilogy probably wouldn't have any effect whatsoever in the universe you're starting in.
Or maybe you see a character from the past.
The
go over there.
best comes to worst, they'll probably have
Like
throwbacks.
a cameo.
Like cameo throwbacks, yeah. Probably, whatever her name is. Melinda? Whatever? I don't remember her character. I don't remember any character's name besides Garrus. Or Ikara, sorry, Ikara.
Alright. Yeah, the game looks, if we've seen of it, it looks pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
EA also discussed very briefly about Unravel, and talked about how it was one of the first games to use EA Original, which is a new publishing platform used for small indie developers and indie developing groups, where they publish their games and all profits go directly back to the developers so that they can continue making games. And then they discussed the next game that is going to be an EA Original published title, Fee, which, as we've gathered, is going to be something like a puzzle adventure game. Very minimalist, low poly design, and it looks very intriguing, to say the least.
Yeah. Definitely one of their more, with how many entries they showed in existing franchises, this one really made me think with how unique it was, trying to understand. I saw someone on Twitter say it looked like Toki Tori in 3D, which seems like a fairly interesting description.
Yeah.
Because puzzle solving, but in 3D.
Unravel was essentially Unravel was essentially a very lighthearted Limbo, with tying things together to pull things, like that kind of dynamic. But it was still essentially like a very lighthearted, colorful Limbo game. And this looks nothing like what I've seen from a lot of games before. It looks very light in terms of conveyance. Like, it doesn't tell you what you need to do. And I think they said that they aren't going to hold your hand with it either.
Right.
That, they said that directly, that they're not going to hold your hand with it. But it's still going to be very interesting regardless to see what they have in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely observed that the game's pretty, and
yeah, I love minimalist design choices, and if I'm guessing, it's using Frostbite. So, I mean, it's probably
would not be a surprise.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it looks very pretty regardless. I do like minimalist, low poly designs, and this looks right up the alley for that kind of thing. It reminds me of Firewatch or Grow Home, perhaps.
Right. And it does seem like a lot of the puzzles revolve around sort of the behavior of the enemies, which I like a lot. I love games where you just sort of...
you had to connect with animals in the area as well. Like you had to befriend them in some ways.
Yeah, looks fun.
Yeah, it overall looks like something unique with some sort of similarity that I can't seem to grasp right now.
And I believe the last game we saw was Battlefield 1, which a lot of people were excited for, and I think it definitely lived up to a lot of that hype.
Yeah, they showed a lot of the cutscenes that we'll be seeing in the single player campaign at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
as to be expected, very pretty cutscenes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then they showed just a tiny amount of gameplay from in-game, as claimed. It is in-game footage,
Right.
Which I'm not believing, but only because we haven't really seen gameplay yet. But I mean, at the detail of what they're showing, I'd believe it because we've seen the amount of detail before, and when Battlefront was first revealed and they said it was in-game footage, we didn't believe them when they told us that the amount of detail in the game was going to be extreme. Like, they're pushing Frostbite to its limits with the past couple games. With Battlefront in particular, it was an astonishingly gorgeous game. But Battlefield 1 could very well be that on a much larger scale.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the 64-player.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we forgot about something else. Star Wars.
Yeah,
right.
Star Wars. EA Star Wars in particular. Apparently 7 of their biggest third parties, DICE, Respawn Entertainment,
Visceral.
Yeah, Visceral, among other third-party developers, in particular BioWare, who is still working on Star Wars: The Old Republic. They discussed future titles for EA Star Wars, the EA Star Wars series of games, well into 2018 and beyond. Because they talked about...
it's like a Disney-level schedule.
Yeah, they talked about Respawn Entertainment's game, and Respawn Entertainment didn't even have any footage. They'd only showed a mocap. They only showed like a very brief glimpse into the mocap that they're doing. Respawn Entertainment is going to have probably the last title that we know of well into 2018 or 2019 even. Like, EA has plans 3 years into the future, and that is substantially crazy.
Yeah. So next year we'll get a new version of Battlefront. They said that they listened to the fans, so maybe they'll actually add a single player mode.
Yeah. Galactic Conquest maybe, because Galactic Conquest is awesome.
And then they showed off concept art and just a bit of footage from the game that Visceral is making, and that's the game that Amy Hennig is writing.
Yeah.
So, and if you guys don't know who Amy Hennig is she worked on Uncharted 2 to be exact.
Yeah, I could see a lot of parallels from the
Uncharted
cutscene and camera and cinematics. I could see some similarities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Her last game was Uncharted 3, and she was supposed to work on Uncharted 4, but she left Naughty Dog and went to Visceral to work on this new Star Wars game. I think they said this will come in 2018, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Okay, so we still have some time.
Yeah, we still have some time, and it's going to be interesting to see them work on it. Respawn Entertainment, they said particularly that Respawn Entertainment was working on a third-person shooter Star Wars.
Yeah,
which is interesting because Battlefront is both first-person and third-person. You can toggle between them, but it's going to be interesting to see them work on a particularly third-person Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Makes me interested on what they're going to try as well, because off topic, Call of Duty 4 has a Star Wars mod on PC, and it would be hilarious to see that Respawn Entertainment is making literally that in third person. It would be hilarious. But yeah, EA was very vanilla, very very sterile.
Yeah.
In terms of what they were revealing.
I mean, there were a couple interesting things, but as a whole, it was like it was okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's
So
perfectly
out
fine.
of
It's
10,
perfectly
what would you give
fine
it?
to think. It's perfectly fine to think that EA's conference was, in particular, just saying, we know what the fans want, and they want stuff that isn't trying a whole lot of new things, but trying just hard enough to be different from the last title.
Right.
So if we would to rate this conference out of 10, what would you rate it?
I'd give it a 6.
I agree.
It wasn't mediocre. It wasn't bad, but there definitely wasn't anything there that blew me away. It was just stuff we knew about, and then a couple of interesting things here and there to show them that they are listening.
Like Battlefield. If it didn't have Battlefield, I probably would have given it a 5 or a 4.
Yeah, I'd say Battlefield 1 in particular is like the one thing we all came to watch.
I would go a bit higher. I'll go 7 because of Star Wars and then Battlefield.
Yeah, the only reason I'm not giving it a 5 is because Fee looked interesting to me. If there weren't a Fee game there, then I would have given it a 5 because I already know what to expect from Battlefield at this point. Because we've seen what they can do with the Battlefront with Frostbite using the we've seen what they can do with Battlefront using the Frostbite engine. So they're naturally going to do that with the next Battlefield title.
Right.
But I mean, Fee is really cool looking, so I'd give it a 6.
All right. Yeah. So anything more to add?
No. I'm just waiting on the next conference, and we have a couple hours to go.
Yeah, it was an okay way to start E3.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a good wake up, except for that one guy who apparently fell asleep in the audience.
Yeah. So I guess that's it then. We'll be back for Bethesda's conference. We're gonna do a pre-show and then the post-show.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
We have 3 hours until that. It's 3.5 hours. It's 2:30. So yeah. I'm gonna give my computer a nice rest break to cool down because I'm definitely not gonna keep the stream up for 3 hours straight. Mm-hmm. But we will be back at 6 p.m.
Pacific, right?
6 p.m. Pacific time to talk about the Bethesda E3 conference.
Pre-show.
The pre-show. And then we're going to watch it live, do a post-show, and then we're going to sleep.
Go right to sleep.
Yeah. Because we have a lot of things to do on the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
So, see you guys at 6 p.m. Until then, this has been the lovely crew at Nintendo Unleashed, Noah and Armando. And
Indeed.
Yep. And I've been Tyler, lonely guy, sporadic reviewer, article writer, rambler.
Guest on podcasts.
Guest on podcast once every 3 months. Yeah. So, we will see you guys at 6 p.m.
Bye.